Good morning, everybody. This is Granny B from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And first things first, I want you to notice my t-shirt. I won a t-shirt from Reap What You Sow. Todd and Jareth from Todd and Jareth, and they sent me this beautiful t-shirt.
Hang on. Go back. Not the other way.
So this is from
Okay.
Todd and Jareth from Reap What You Sow.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
I had to edit this out. Bruce kept telling me to turn this way and turn that way, and I didn't know which way to turn. That's par for the course around this place. But anyway, I'm real glad to get it. Thanks, Todd and Jareth. I really appreciate it, and I wanted to show it off for everybody. I don't really have a lot to say today, but first of all, I do want to say this is Sunday. Palm Sunday. Many of you call it Palm Sunday. Bruce and I celebrate Passover, and for us, that Passover is going to be tomorrow night. And we're always so thankful to have another opportunity to thank our Father for giving us the gift of salvation by the resurrection of our Lord. And I hope that you have a blessed week, even though we're going through hard times right now, and there's always something to be thankful for, and I hope you're all staying safe. We are. It's chill. I wanted to give an update on my garden, but it's chilly today, so we're just staying in the house and relaxing. And I've got a couple of funny stories I want to tell y'all today, and I hope you enjoy them too. The first one is about the weather. One day my daughter called me and she said, "Hi, Mom, how are you?" I said, "Well, we're good." And she said, "What's the weather like there?" And I said, "Well, it has been miserable. It had been cold and rainy and even snowy whenever she had called." And I said, "But today the sun has come out and it's nice and balmy." And I said, "We're in short sleeve weather and we're getting outside some today." And she said, "Well, that's good." And I said, "Yeah, we're really enjoying it." I said, "How's the weather down there?" She lives south of Corpus Christi at the tip of Texas. So, I mean, there's 800 miles between us. And she said, "Oh, Mom, it is cold here." And I said, "Really?" And I said, "How cold is it?" She said, "It's 42 degrees. And I said, "Well, that's interesting. Our temperature is 42 degrees too." So temperature is always relative. We were enjoying the sunshine and the warmth, and she was bundled up in the house at 42 also. So my next little funny story is I got this idea because I was watching from Tammy at Little Jordan Farm. Hello again. Papa Bruce had to change the battery. So while he got the battery, my little girl had to get up in my lap. So I'll finish my story. I was watching Tammy at Little Jordan Farm. Tammy is so knowledgeable in herbals and everything, and so I was watching one of hers the other day, and then at the end of her presentation, she always does a little segment called Remember When. And she did a Remember When the other day that sparked a memory. It was about childhood fears. And I thought, well, I could do a video on that. So here I go. When I was about 10 years old, this was 60 years ago, my grandparents still had an outhouse. Now, some of you may have never seen a real outhouse, but this was a real outhouse. They make them out of cheap wood, just planks of wood hammered onto a 2x4 frame.
1, 2, or 4 holder.
Theirs happened to be a 2-holder. But anyway, as the planks get older and older, the wood shrinks. And so what once had been tight pieces of wood side by side, now they had shrunk to where there were little cracks in it. And if you were some kind of a peeping Tom, you could actually peep in and see somebody in there. But my grandma and grandpa had taken old cardboard boxes and opened them up and tacked them on the inside of the outhouse for two reasons. Number one, the privacy, and two, to keep the wind from blowing through those cracks and making an already uncomfortable situation even more uncomfortable. Well, they had these granddaddy long-legged spiders that they would get behind the where the cardboard had come. They would hide their bodies between the cardboard and the wood, and they would hide back there because it was a little warmer. But their legs were out up above the cardboard. So I would go to the outhouse, and I would sit there on the throne, and I was constantly watching these granddaddy long-legged spiders to make sure they weren't doing anything they weren't supposed to be doing. And I was terrified. And so that was the position one time when all of a sudden there was a on the wall from the outside, and all these granddaddy spiders came out from the cardboard and were just running all over the place. And I screamed. It scared me to death. I screamed and I jumped up and I ran out of the outhouse and fell because my shorts were still around my ankles. And there was my brother over, not far from the house at this time, and he was bent over laughing because he had gone up and he had banged on those rickety old boards and driven those spiders out. Well, I finally got my drawers pulled back up and I screamed at him and I said, "You've had it, brother." And off he went and off I went, and the chase was on. My brother does watch my YouTube, so brother, I hope you remember this little story, and I sure would appreciate you putting a little comment in here that you remember the story too, and that you're sorry. You've never said you were sorry about doing that. Now, another time when I was watching Little Jordan Farm, she was talking about how her grandparents had a well or a creek, and they would go get a bucket of water and set it on their counter and with a ladle in it. Well, I happen to know exactly what she's talking about because I still have one of the ladles that my grandmother put in her pail. She would put that pail on the counter, and all through the day anybody would come up and they would just take a sip out of the water, or if she needed to make some more hot water for tea or something, she'd dip it out into her teapot. And she had a wooden stove, so she had to heat her water on a wooden stove. But there's the ladle.
The stove was wood or burnt wood?
It burned wood, my sweetheart. The stove was cast iron. But anyway, then on another one, she was talking about remember the old toys and the old candy. And she couldn't think of the thing that you looked through and saw all the pretty designs, and I told her, I said, well, it's a kaleidoscope, and I just still happen to have a kaleidoscope here. And in fact, I told her in my comments that I actually make kaleidoscopes. I've made several in the past and given them as gifts. So one of my next videos is I will show you how to make a kaleidoscope of your own. It was fascinating to me to turn that little thing and see the pebbles fall and make new designs, and they were just beautiful. So I want to show you how to do that if anybody wants to see it. And that's really all I have today, but I just wanted to come in and say hello because it has been a while. I can't get motivated sometimes, or I feel like I don't have anything interesting to say. But bless Tammy's heart, she gave me several ideas of things that I can say to you. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And until next time, God bless you Thank you for watching my videos. I love each and every one of you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.